Hello, Mrs. Hurst fourth grade class. Today we are going to be diving into a reading skill, specifically in vocabulary. That's going to help our vocab, and that's going to help us become better readers. So today we're going to be talking about multiple meaning words. So these are words that have, like it says, multiple different meanings. As in, I might see one word and it could mean several different things. Specifically today, we're going to look at words that are called homographs. Can you say that with me? Homographs. So homographs, we can figure out what that means by looking at the Greek and Latin roots that we've been studying in vocabulary. Homo means same, and graph means writing. So homograph, same writing. These are words that are written the same, but they have different meanings, and that can be really tricky. Now, you probably actually had to use this skill since you were little, and you're gonna have to use it the rest of your life till you get older, until you're an adult. There's gonna be times where you look at a word, or you maybe even hear a word, and you realize, ooh, that might have a different meaning, and I need to figure out what that meaning really is. So today our big focus is going to be looking at the clues and the context. That's what we say. We look at the context around the word to use as clues to help us figure out what does that word mean. So I'm going to give you a quick example, and then we'll go over more together in some silly ways. I'll act some out. So for example, let's say that your friend asks you to go to the park and they want to play a game, and you're going to have to pick up the bat and hit the ball with it. Well, our word bat, B-A-T, written the same, can actually mean several different things. Probably in your mind, you were already thinking about a baseball bat, the long wooden stick that we use to play in a game, and we hit a ball with it. That's what your brain was thinking because you were already thinking about those clues in that context to help you figure out we're talking about a baseball bat. But if you didn't have that knowledge, or you didn't use those clues and you just saw the word bat, B-A-T, you might be thinking about the creepy creature that Mrs. Hurst does not like to see flying around at night, that we often associate with Halloween, and they kind of creep us out. That could be a different kind of bat. They're written the same, they even sound the same, but they have completely different meanings. So that is why it's so important that we use the skill of looking at the context and the clues around the word to help us. So let's dive into some other examples and talk about different multiple meaning words before you get to practice. Let's do it.
I could see the tree bark.
Listen, I may be young, but I know that a tree can't bark like a dog. Obviously, we're talking about the bark that a tree has on the outside. I can see the tree bark, not I can see the tree bark. Come on.
Okay, so if we go back to our sentence and really think about the clues in the sentence, this will help us. Because there are two different meanings for the word bark. It's a multiple meaning word. The first one is the hard outside covering on a tree. The second one is a sound that a dog makes. So if we look at our sentence, I could see the tree bark. We have a clue there. What's our clue? Probably the word tree. We're talking about a tree, and we know that trees have the outside covering of bark. So this is probably going to be the definition I'm talking about, not the definition of the sound that a dog makes.
Example number 2.
All right, remember how I told you sometimes our multiple meaning words might sound alike? Well, sometimes they don't even sound alike, and they still look the same, but they have different meanings. So let's look at this one. I could read this one tear or tear. A tear or a tear. Okay, I might need to use some clues. Fell from her eye. I want you to take a second. Do you see any words in here that might be a clue that might help us figure out what the meaning of this word is? Hopefully you're thinking of the word eye, okay? If we know that something is falling from someone's eye, we're probably not talking about the meaning of tear. We're probably talking about the meaning of tear. In example number 3, the chickens began to fly.
All right, so our third and final quick example for our video today is the chickens began to fly. And fly, we can only pronounce that one way, so that's a little different than our last example, but it is still a multiple meaning word. It could mean a small insect. It could mean to move through the air. So I want you to look at this sentence and see, are there any clues that you think we could underline or look at to help us figure out which one of these fly means? Is it a small insect or to move through the air? If our sentence is the chickens began to fly. So hopefully you looked at the clue, chickens. So another clue that also I was looking at was began to. And there's a reason for that. Sometimes we have a word like fly, and it can be a noun, so a person, place, or thing, or it can be an action, like a verb, and we're going to talk about those more this year. But those are two very different things. A noun is a person, place, a thing, something I can hold or see, but an action is a verb. It's something that you do. So in this sentence, the chickens began to fly, we automatically know because the chickens are doing an action that it's probably not going to be a small insect because that's a noun. Since the chickens are doing an action, they began to do something, we know that it means to move through the air. Now, because it's the end of this video and I want to show you a little bit of my chickens, we're going to go see if we can make my chickens fly, and then we're going to move on to some of you practicing.
Hello? Hello, how do you do? Come here. Come here. All right, so I couldn't get the chickens to fly, but sometimes they really do.
All right, so hopefully after today's lesson, you realize that we're going to come across words in our daily language, in the reading that we're doing, that might have several different meanings. And we have to be careful of the context clues surrounding that word to really help us figure out what does that word mean. I hope that you're able to share this with siblings and parents and friends and teach them what you know. It's important to follow the clues because those multiple meaning words can be tricky. Now, we're going to practice today and we're going to keep practicing this throughout the year, but I hope you enjoyed this video and please like and share.